Hello, everybody. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and welcome to a very special episode of LRM Ranks It, the show where we take our favorite movies, TV shows, video games, things from pop culture and geek culture, and we rank them. That's what we do here, and I am joined once again by the great Breaking Geek writer, Nick Dahl. How's it going, buddy?
Hello, everyone. I'm back.
Yes, you are. Nick, you can't see me because me and you have kind of upgraded the way that we record these things. No longer do we have Skype sitting, right out of camera angle on our laptops. But I'm very festive. I'm wearing the most festive t-shirt I got. It's the only shirt I've got that's got red and green on it. And it is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shirt with Raphael on it.
Nice. I'm wearing one of my only green shirts, which is, it ties into my first episode. So
Good stuff. Good stuff.
the most Christmassy thing I have. Overall, anything in the house.
Oh, okay. You see, I got lights. I got lights on the
know.
mic stand. I got lights behind me. Kind of like the Christmas movies episode, which we did a couple weeks ago, which you guys should definitely check out. And today we're going to be doing our favorite Christmas TV episodes, like sitcoms. Specifically, we went for comedy shows and their Christmas episodes. There's no limit on whether it had to be live action or cartoon
Or cable or
just
network.
kind of or cable broadcast. No, just needed to be comedy oriented and a TV show, and had to have a Christmas episode.
Yeah,
and
not like Frosty the Snowman. It's not an actual
No,
special.
no.
But
yes, like I said, I call them sitcoms.
Yep.
I think most of the ones fall under sitcom. Some people might consider it a little different than your traditional, Home Improvement Drew Carey show or whatever. But anywho, that's what we
comedies.
did. Yes, comedy TV shows, Christmassy, and we are explaining it far too much. But that's all right.
It's important to understand the rules that we were limited
Yes,
by.
it is very important and what's really important to understand the rules is before we start coming up with our list. There's somebody that did something with me, and I had to be like, oh, by the way, I don't want this in it. And they're like, oh, are you serious? Are you fucking kidding me? And then they had to change their list. So me and you discussed the rules beforehand, and I had a lot of fun with this list. I got to go back and watch a bunch of Christmas episodes from TV shows. What'd you kind of do to come up with your list?
It's actually very similar to a list I wrote at one point, but these are the ones I rewatch every year. Like these, and like one or two I had to leave off are my go-tos.
Okay, definitely. I watch these. My wife likes to go on Netflix or go on our hard drive, and where we've got digital copies of a bunch of our favorite, shows and stuff like that, and watch like all the Christmas episodes from a show before we go to bed for something, during this time of year. So it's kind of fun. Well, let's get down to it, Nick, and let's go with your number 5 Christmas comedy sitcom TV show with a comedy spin. Comedy and Christmas is the important part. Number 5, go.
I get it. Mine ties into my shirt, which is almost more of an Irish shirt because it says Paddy's Irish Pub. But it's the Always Sunny in Philadelphia, A Very Sunny Christmas, which actually was released on DVD and it's slightly longer than an episode, but later they aired it. But releasing on DVD made it R-rated, which was great. And it carries a lot of the Christmas classic things you expect. There's a claymation sequence. There's a few songs. They learn the meaning of Christmas, but then they get screwed in the end because It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But the basic story is they all kind of represent Christmas past, future, and present. And that Frank always buys the gifts that Dennis and Dee always want. This year it's a car and a very expensive purse, and he ruins them himself. Like he buys the gifts and then gifts them to himself. He's like using her fancy bag for Cheetos, and he's just driving Dennis's car all over the place. But he's Christmas present. Dennis and Dee learn that one of his old associates is still alive, but Frank thinks he's dead, so they decide to set out and use him as a ghost. So they could be teach Frank a lesson about being an asshole and charity. And meanwhile, delving into their pasts, Mac and Charlie get into their old childhood presents and learn things about their past they had to point out to each other to learn that Mac's family would actually go into other people's houses and open presents until they woke up and then run away with whatever they got. So he remembers his favorite toy is actually stolen from a certain house and he wants to return it. like
That's so
apologize.
fucked up.
And Charlie realizes that all the men that came to his mother's house and handed him a present and walked upstairs weren't Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And it includes, you've already used the F word one. Am I allowed to curse since we're doing like Sunny, South Park and all that stuff?
Just go ahead.
It leads to one of the
So,
bloodiest,
fuck it.
most curse-laden Sunny scenes ever, where after he learns that in the mall, Charlie attacks the mall Santa Claus and it's like, "Did you fuck my mom, Santa? Did you fuck my mom?" And he literally like bites off his nose and it gets like bloody and stuff. And
Oh, jeez.
and of course, the animated section is about ripping Frank to shreds and stuff, and it's very graphic too. But it's done in the claymation that you love around Christmas. So
Yeah, definitely. That's hilarious, man. I'm not. I've seen many episodes of Always Sunny. It's not a thing that I follow very closely, but I've never seen that episode. But you've sold me on that. I definitely want to go back and track that down. That
Yeah.
sounds hilarious.
it should be on Hulu, but like it won't be part of a season because it was like literally a DVD release.
A Christmas special.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, everything's available on the internet somehow, some way.
I'm sure it's
so
with the
I'm
rest
sure
of Sunny
I
on
can find
Hulu.
it.
Yeah.
So that's hilarious, man.
Yeah, all of mine are going to be like contemporary, as in no earlier than the 2000s, and
Oh, see,
comedies, like
I've
real
got
comedies.
a couple of old ones on here. I got a couple of more modern, and then I got some really old stuff, and I got a cartoon. So, well, let's go ahead and get into it with. Ooh, excuse me. I tell you what, man. I'm on that keto diet. I don't know if the audience has noticed, but from the very first video we released to today, I've lost quite a bit of weight, and part of that is having given up regular sodas, and I drink Coke Zero, which makes me, burp more often, almost like you do like on a Sprite or something like that. It's more bubbly. I don't know. Whatever taking sugar out of it does, it makes me.
Well,
so, anyways.
congratulations on your weight loss.
Yeah, so there we go. Well, thank you on that. Yeah, it worked. 34 pounds since August. Yay me. Anyways, my number 5 is from Scrubs, and it's actually season 1, episode 11. My own personal Jesus. It is in the first season, so this is the first time you get to see how the characters are during Christmas time. Scrubs is one of my favorite shows of all time. I absolutely love it. I think season 8 had one of the best endings for sitcom ever, which was why when they did the Scrubs Med School or whatever, when it switched networks and they did one more season, it was horror. It had funny moments, but it was stupid and it wasn't Scrubs. But I love Scrubs, and this one really kind of focuses on Turk. Everybody kind of has their own little parts in it. Elliot's dealing with the free clinic part of the hospital, and Dr. Kelso, she's overwhelmed, and Dr. Kelso's like, well, hey, it's all right. She wants to take care of this pregnant woman. He's like, well, that makes sense. You're going to end up in family medicine or OBGYN anyways. And she's like, well, that's sexist. No, I'm going to be internal medicine because I'm Elliot Reed and I'm the best there ever was. Yeah, no, you're not. JD is, of course. No. But he's like, oh, he tells her, eventually you're going to be like, oh, look at the baby, which exactly happens towards the end of the show. JD's off running around doing JD things. Like I said, the big focus is on Turk, who has the most faith in his deity, if you will. He's a Christian and is one of the ones that actually speaks about that throughout the series. And it's about him losing his faith as he's dealing with a lot of the bad things that happen in a hospital during Christmas. So it's a real crisis of faith moment. People are making fun of his faith, and there's even a moment where him and Carla go up to the roof, and I can't remember the exact line. She says something about I might not believe in God, or something where God is not that important to her. She goes, but I can make you see him, kind of alluding to some sexual stuff that they could do up on the roof. And that's like the straw that breaks the camel's back. There's a great gag in there where somebody makes a comment, and JD has one of his daydreams about not buying it. It's a book, and he's like, nope, not buying that. And it's hilarious. The whole episode, it's got a serious theme, many funny moments, and because it's Scrubs, I absolutely loved it. It gets to a happy ending. Turk figures he has like this religious moment on the roof where he sees the star for some tree in the town, and he runs out towards that. They find the pregnant lady that Dr. Reed was treating, who had went missing. They save her baby. She has her look at the baby moment. And the episode wraps up tightly like most Scrubs episodes do, and I love it. You ever seen that one?
Yeah, I haven't rewatched Scrubs in a while, but I've seen all of it. I think except for the last season. So I remember that.
I love it. It's great. So yeah, that's my number 5. And let's go ahead and continue on, man.
Okay. Well, first I forgot to mention my number 5 is that the Blu-rays from 2009. For some reason, I have all the air dates of all these things, so you know exactly when I watched them.
Okay.
Number 4, I have A Woodland Critter Christmas, which is South Park season 18, episode 14, on December 15th, 2004. I got the Blu-ray or DVD right here. This is a very special episode of South Park. There are lots of good Christmas episodes. Like, I think one of them is like it's a parody of Black Hawk Down, but they're saving Santa Claus. It's not a parody of Saving Private Ryan. But this one's a very special one. It's done in rhyme. It's fantastic. It's very Christmassy / Dr. Seussy, where like the narrator's even pushing the main character Stan along to do things he doesn't want to do because the narration says he's going to do it, and he's like, no, I'm not doing that. And it's like, and then the little boy did, and it like cuts to the next scene. He's like, wait, how the fuck did I get here? Like, so it pushes him along in a wonderful Christmas tale where he must kill a mountain lion to protect the critters, the woodland critters' Christmas, because every year their savior is born and the mountain lion kills it before it can be born.
Oh wow!
Like, and this year Miss Porcupine's pregnant, so Stan kills the mountain lions to save the woodland critters, and then he learns that their savior isn't Jesus, it's Satan. And they're gonna bring back Satan, and then they have a big old blood orgy, and it's hilarious. And then they need Kyle's body to bring back as the vessel to bring back Satan. So Kyle becomes infected with baby. Well, so the only way to defeat them is to perform an abortion before the savior can be born. So, and only the mountain lions are the only ones who can take out it's a prophecy. Only they can kill like the baby Satan. So he finds the little cubs that are left alone after he murders their mother. And he takes them to an abortion clinic, teaches them how to do an abortion, and then Santa Claus shows up at the end to help save the day as Satan is born. So classic, and it's all a story written by
over the top. Yeah.
In the end, it's all a story written by Cartman, and that's why he demonizes Kyle. I think Kyle does become the Antichrist in the episode. He's like, no, it's not against Jews. But
yeah,
it's a classic. When I showed my roommate the list, he threw it on the ground and was like, you left off Woodland Critter Christmas. And I'm like, you didn't actually read the list. It's number 4. So
that's another one I have not seen. South Park's another one of those hit or miss shows. I watch it whenever I catch it, but I don't follow it. I haven't followed it religiously in, 10, 12 years. I watched the first, half dozen seasons pretty much solid through. But after that, it's just whenever I catch it.
Oh, it's season 8, not 18, by the way.
Season 8.
Because it is from 2004.
There you go, yeah. Well, very cool, man. Well, my number 4 is a little bit more family-friendly than that.
I don't think any of mine are.
Actually, I think all of mine are pretty family-friendly for the most part. Although my next one deals with a word that is not family-friendly. Mine comes from Season 2, Episode 11 of How I Met Your Mother, and it's How Lily Stole Christmas. I'm not as fancy as you. I don't have the release date, so if you guys want to check these out, at least you got the show titles from Nick to figure out where they're at. I can tell you the season and episode for me, because I'm special that way.
I can tell you season, but not episode.
There you go. In this, it's right after Lily and Marshall have gotten back together. They had a breakup. Spoiler alert for season 1. If you have never watched the show, it's hilarious. But they break up, they get back together. And Lily is setting up the apartment that they share for Christmas. And Marshall is super excited about it. He's covering his eyes when he comes out because he doesn't want to see it. He's got to go study for some law exam or some law paper. He's still in law school. And they find the old recorder message machine that they used to have before the breakup. And Lily's like, well, let's plug it in. And when they do, there's a message from Ted during the breakup time. He's like, hey, Marshall, are you still there? Are you moping around about Lily? Well, you got to get over that Grinch. Well, on TV, they say Grinch, but it's not the word Grinch. And here's the funny thing, is it bitch, which isn't that bad, but yeah, still you're calling somebody that used to be one of your best friends a bitch? Or is it something that rhymes with bunt? I think it's bitch, but my wife thinks it's the other word. She's like, well, why would she get so pissy about, being called a bitch? I was like, well, in the context of it, it's pretty bad. And she's like, yeah, but the way she reacts, it's like she called her a, and I'm not going to say that word on our record. What's that?
Runt.
Yeah, it rhymes with runt.
What Tina Fey thinks. That's what Tina Fey thinks she's being called the other word. She's only being called a runt.
Oh, okay. Is that a 30 Rock thing?
Yeah, 30 Rock. So Liz Lemon. Okay. That's what made me think of that.
But yeah, so I don't know which word he is, but they use Grinch during TV, and there's this whole thing where she's like, I can't believe you would call me that. And he's like, well, I'm not going to apologize because you were being a Grinch. She takes down all the Christmas stuff, and the whole episode is about Ted trying to, figure out why he should apologize to her, even though he doesn't feel like he should. He felt like he was doing the best friend bit. He even says, you ripped this guy's heart out. As the best friend, I'm supposed to help try to build him back up. And you weren't around. So yeah, I called you a Grinch. And she even calls his mom and has his mom call him and berate him for a minute. And it's hilarious. All throughout the episode, he's fighting the whole apology thing. But he ends up apologizing, of course. At least apologizing for calling her that word. There's other ways he could have said that Lily was being mean or something and build Marshall up. One of the funniest moments, though, comes when he decides to spend Christmas with his cousin, who's uber religious. And I mean, like, they're all wearing red knitted sweaters. They're sitting down to Christmas dinner. They're praying. They don't do Santa or, just uber religious. I don't even think they do Christmas gifts. And the gang, Marshall and Lily and Robin and Barney all come to visit him to let him know, hey, everything's cool. They knock on the door. Hey, everything's cool. They pretend to sing a carol. And Lily ends up saying the word, again, used as Grinch in the episode. And one of the kids of the uber religious family overhears it. And he's like, Mommy, what's a Grinch? And then all the kids start chanting, Grinch, 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 Grinch. And you can just imagine a family of kids saying, bitch, 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 or the other word. So, hilarious. They share a beer, and like most sitcoms, the episode ends on a high note. So, yeah, that's my number 4.
Good.
All right, well, let's go ahead and keep going to number 3.
My number 3 is from Arrested Development, Season 2. Episode name Afternoon Delight, which aired on December 19th, 2004. In this episode is all about a Christmas party that turns into 2 Christmas parties. Job is the official head of the Bluth Company at this point. He's excited to take his dad's role as the Christmas party, where his dad is always roasted. And, he gets to be the big fancy guy and host the big Christmas party. Meanwhile, Michael's the actual president. Job just has the title to get around some law thing or appease Job. So Job throws this big party. He's got his dad's $60,000 suit. Come on! And but he's the big doofus, and no one wants to roast him because they know that they'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
And this episode uses a lot of bleeps because Arrested Development likes to do that as a joke where he's not actually saying anything. Mm-hmm. So Lindsay's going, his sister, and she wants to get hit on by someone, but before he shows up, he's like, so my sister here, there's no bleeping or bleep, 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 bleeping or bleeping or finger bleeping. And he's just like, goes off on this rant. So no one's giving her attention, even though the guys who like her, because of that. And Michael, meanwhile, decides to sing a song with his niece. They pick Afternoon Delight for karaoke. Which he realizes the lyrics as they're singing it are not good. Meanwhile, the party then ends after Job fires every employee after they try to roast him, and he doesn't like the first joke. But then it's all fixed. They have a second Christmas party on the beach. Job grabs the banana suit out of storage. They rehire all the employees, and things only go wrong when Lucille, the mother, crashes through the party because she's had some Afternoon Delight, which is a Oscar Bluth's favorite strain of marijuana. And again, Afternoon Delight is sung between, I think, the sister and her nephew at the second party, both realizing it. And then the best line has to do with the giving her the drug, because Oscar has the great innuendo of, "I'll put the afternoon delight in her brownie." So then she ruins the party, runs everyone over, and for some reason Buster lifts Job up with a crane and drops him in the ocean from like 50 feet because he's been practicing with the crane game all game, and Job is stuck in the banana stand in the banana suit. So classic Arrested Development, like wacky as hell.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's like most Arrested Development, completely over the top and just takes the theme and runs with it into a wall.
Yeah. My other favorite line in it is he's like, "Everybody dance now," and no one's dancing. And he's like, "Everyone dance now," and it becomes a command. And then I believe this is the episode where Anne breaks up with George Michael for the first time, and he actually does the sad Snoopy walk, which is a highlight of the series, where they literally use the music from Arrested Development. I mean, from the Charlie Brown Christmas.
Peanuts Christmas, yeah.
And like he's walking with his head down and stuff, just like they do in that. Oh, exaggerated because it's a real person doing it, and they play that song. So it's a very Christmassy Arrested Development.
It's hilarious, man.
But also a very dark and dirty episode compared to yours.
Yeah, yours are all adult. That's 3 more adult ones there in a row. Mine is definitely this. I guess my first 2 are not necessarily, they're family friendly, but they're geared towards adults more. This one's more of a traditional family sitcom, all ages really, and it is The Best Christmas Ever season 1, episode 12 of That 70s Show. That 70s Show is another one of my favorite sitcoms.
You say these are family friendly. Like kids wouldn't want to watch How I Met Your Mother. It is friendlier.
No.
But then That 70s Show is
that's what I meant.
They're getting stoned all the time.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is like How I Met Your Mother is like aimed at adults, but it is mostly family friendly. There's still sex stuff there.
It's
of
cleaner
course,
than all of my stuff.
Yeah. That 70s Show is more aimed at older kids, absolutely, but it's not a show that was aimed at adults. No, this was one. That's what I mean by it's a little bit more family friendly. Not necessarily 8-year-old kids.
Gotcha. Like older kids would watch it with their parents.
The older kids, and I think the show was aimed at older kids and young adults.
High schoolers,
Yeah, high schoolers, exactly. Which is, I think I was in high school when it came out. And so I love that 70s show. It's hilarious. In this one, Eric wants to have his own Christmas party, and of course he wants beer. And so the gang decides to, Red gives Eric the money to go get the Foreman Christmas tree. And the gang decides, well, instead they're going to spend the money on presents and beer, and they can go get a Christmas tree off the side of the road somewhere, which they do. And there's a hilarious scene where they're cutting down the tree, and Eric yells, "Car!" And Eric and Hyde duck, and then Kelso pops up, and he's like, "Car? Where?" And it's like, "You idiot, get down," you know? So that was a pretty funny moment. I just hit my table. And they cut down the tree, they get it. They use the money for beer and presents, and they throw a party of their own. So the adults are having a party upstairs, and the kids are having a party downstairs. Lori, Eric's sister, is being a Grinch. She's being a bitch. And she spikes Eric's punch bowl with vodka. And so down at the party, there's a few girls that Fez is trying to get them to drink beer because this is prior to the Me Too movement, and it was funny back in the 70s apparently and the 90s when the show came out to play on the whole get girls drunk to make them easier. But he's trying to do that, and they're like, he's trying to get them to drink the beer, and they don't want to, so they go and have punch instead, which of course gets them toasted. The episode, has funny moments all throughout. Red is working Christmas Eve at Bob. Bob is Donna's father, one of the kids in the group that dates Eric for a while. He's working at Bob's store on Christmas, falls in love with Pong, buys a Pong set, and Kelso buys some cool curlers for Jackie, his girlfriend. And Jackie's drunk. The 3 girls that drank the punch instead of the beer are drunk. Red finds out about the tree being cut off the side of the road when the cops come to repossess the tree, which has a very funny moment with Kitty like trying to block them. And she's like, "No, you can't take my tree. It's beautiful." And so it ends. It ends when Red busts up the party and tells everybody to go home and takes the drunk girls to go home, and it's a funny classic, that 70s show, teenage kids getting in trouble. I love it.
It's funny, like just like how you haven't really seen any of my episodes. Like you've picked, like, with the exception of Scrubs, I've barely watched that '70s show and How I Met Your Mother. I have trouble with laugh tracks, even though I do watch like Seinfeld and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's my family. We loved that type of TV. Growing up, is we watched sitcoms.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like Fresh Prince and Family Matters, Home Improvement, Drew Carey Show.
I watched that.
And so, like as I grew up, we were big on sitcoms. So yeah, all of mine are those more traditional TV sitcoms. So, but hey, it's all good. I like it when our lists are different. It gives the audience something to hear differences.
Yeah,
so definitely
10 recommendations probably, because I doubt we
pretty much
have any of the same.
So go ahead and go with your number 2.
My number 2 is Community Season 3 Regional Holiday Music. It's the Glee episode where they have to, after Jeff gets the Glee team shut down for not having the rights to the songs they're singing, which is the whole point of Glee Club. The instructor, I can't remember the name of the actor. He's great on SNL. I don't think he's on it anymore. Karen Gillan or something. Taron Gillan. He plays the Glee instructor. He's really funny. He wants them to again fill in, because last time they filled in, they almost won regionals. Regionals is a big deal. Because they filled in last time, because the whole Glee Club died in a. I watched this episode, both these last two, like multiple times a week around Christmas. They died in a van accident when the brakes wouldn't stop it. So they don't want to do it. They remember last time and how it was weird, and they almost like felt like they were on drugs and shit. So first he infects Abed with a Glee song, an original. This whole thing is original songs about Christmas. Yep. Like the first song's like Glee, do 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 do, and he convinces him to join the Glee Club.
We watched.
Yeah, you watched that one?
We watched it not too long ago. Yeah, we watched it not too long. Yeah, Taron Killam. Yep. And he's married to Kobe Smulders.
Oh wow, really? Good for him. I mean, he's not a bad-looking guy. He's funny, but Maria Hill.
Anyways,
in
continue.
addition to How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
But so Abed then goes around infecting everyone. As he infects others, they infect others with songs. My favorite is Childish Gambino, basically, because it's a rap song about being a Jehovah's Witness who will infiltrate Christmas.
Yep.
And then just like there's the Annie super sexy song, Santa, like her version of like Santa Baby type thing. And then
that clip is bad for the heart, man.
Yeah. And then it ends with Britta ruining everything, like always, because no one wants her because she can't
always
sing.
She Britted it.
And at the end, Taron Gillan or whatever admits he killed the last Glee Club by cutting their brakes because they sucked, and is quickly taken away. But like all the original songs are great. I can watch it over and over again, just like the next one.
Yeah.
And definitely a recent favorite. I think it's from I said season 3, December 8, 2011. So I think it is my most recent choice.
It was very funny. We started watching Community way too late.
Great
actually,
show.
just a month or so ago, we actually started watching it, and are up through season 5. We're on season 5, so.
Well, that's where the Russos came from. They got Avengers off of their paintball episodes.
Yep, and Harmon for Rick and Morty as well, and he did something else, but number 2. What's that?
I was going to say, one of the things he did was he co-created the Sarah Silverman program, but was quickly fired for her because he is a big sexist and is famous for it. And it was her show.
Oh man, comedy, so weird. So I actually had a hard time with the last two, but I had to pick a number 2. I had to figure out where I was going to place them. So I went ahead and took Home Improvement season 4, episode 12. 'Twas the Night Before Chaos.
I assumed you'd do a Home
it is
Improvement one.
Yes, I love Home Improvement, man.
It's the most family friendly of all. I watch Home Improvement.
It
as
is.
a kid.
This one is definitely the most family friendly of all the ones that I got on here. And truly all ages, from 8-year-olds up to
I watched that
high
as a
school
little
and
kid.
parents. Yeah. It's a funny show, and this episode carries on several tropes that are running gags from previous Christmas episodes, to include Tim's competition for lighting the house every year, where he usually faces off against the proctologist from down the street. And in this episode, Jill's parents, Jill, for those of you that have not seen Home Improvement, Tim is the husband. He's married to Jill, and they have 3 boys. They have 3 kids. And Mark, Randy, and God, what was his name? Brad. That's right. So Mark, Randy, and Brad. Anyways, Jill's parents come over for a visit. Her dad is a former colonel in the military, so he's all like, real military oriented, real big army, a big Patton fan. He wants the boys to watch the movie Patton. It's like his favorite movie ever.
Good movie.
And but the colonel and his wife are having marital issues, and so there's normal family home improvement stuff that is going on during the episode. But the Christmas light competition is hilarious. When the colonel finds out that Tim is doing this Christmas light thing, he doesn't care at all until he finds out that the butt doctor, that's what he calls him, down the street used to be in the Navy. And of course that gets his blood boiling because it's like, go Army, beat Navy, which I've got military family. My dad was in the Army, so a big shout out to all of the viewers that have military family. The United States Army, West Point, did beat Annapolis, the Navy, in college football this past week that we're recording this, which will be 2 weeks ago by the time you guys see this. So yay, that's 3 in a row. Go Army, beat Navy. But anyway, so he gets involved in it, comes up with some tactical stuff, about placing lights here, there, and defeating the enemy. And one of the other cool moments and why I really like this episode is there's a pet name that I have for my wife, sort of a pet name, but I call her Hey You, if she calls me on the phone, I'll say Hey You, and it's not like a Hey You type thing. But the you is like, she's the you and my, she's my you, and I don't know why I started doing that. We've been married, God, we're coming up on 12 years.
Wow,
and I've done that. Yeah, I've done that pretty much from the beginning. And it dawned on me years later that I had heard that on Home Improvement. Not as a term of endearment. The colonel actually refers to Tim as Hey You. So they come in through the house and he's greeting his daughter Jill and the grandkids, and Tim comes up and he's like, Colonel, he's like, Hey You. And so it's a funny thing. Every time I see it, it reminds me that I call my wife Hey You, but in a much more nicer and cute romantic way. So yeah, it's a fun traditional Christmas episode of a sitcom, and a great sitcom at that. So number 2.
Cool.
Before we get into our number ones, it's time to do that thing we love to do here on any type of media, and that's plug stuff. Nick, I love plugging stuff.
Yeah.
That sounds horrible.
Let's we all know.
So let's go ahead and let everybody know that LRM Ranks It hits every Tuesday on the website lrmonline.com, as well as our YouTube channel. And last week's episode will actually be up today in audio form. You can find that. We do SoundCloud and Apple iTunes. So definitely check that out. It's on the Los Fanboys channel. There's the Los Fanboys podcast every Friday. Every Thursday, we have another video series called I'd Buy That for $1. Nick, I believe you fairly recently recorded an episode of that. And so, yeah, make sure you guys are liking and sharing and thumbs upping and hitting those bells, subscribing, do all that good stuff so you can be telling you, so you can be alerted whenever we put up new content. And let us know how we're doing. Leave comments in the box below the video here on YouTube. Leave comments in the boxes below if you're watching us on the website. And yeah. And so, Nick, what is your number 1?
Well, I'm dipping back into the same old well. Again, the second most Christmassy thing I own is behind me. It's my Troy and Abed and Andy Warhol painting. Because my other actually, we'll get to that. I have my favorite ever Christmas episode that I watched so many times, and it even makes me cry a lot, is Community Season 2, Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, from December 9th, 2010.
The claymation.
Yes,
one where he's
entirely,
like, crazy.
entirely claymation, which is one of the reasons it's so impressive. But like, it's also a depressing, touching tale, like most Community, more so than the other one. It's because it's about Abed's psyche, because he's seeing the world as claymation and it's not. So his friends are worried about him because if he cracks, he'll have to drop out of school, and he's already very autistic. He knows they're in a TV show. He's very meta. It was a touching episode. The other most festive things I own are actually figures of all the characters, but I don't. They're in a box somewhere. Like they're either like little Christmas, not ornaments because they don't hang, but like Christmas ornament sized of all the characters.
Yeah,
as their alter egos, because eventually John Oliver, who plays one of the psych professor, who really just wants to make money off Abed and like learn something about, wow, this is a cool condition, rather than help him. They have a big circle group, but Abed turns it into almost a role-playing scenario where he's seeing it as like an actual Christmas adventure on like Christmas Planet or something. And like Jack's a toy box, and like Annie's a ballerina, and Pierce is like a teddy bear. Donald Glover's like toy soldier, or little drummer boy. And it's very again, wonderful original music. Just like the other one. The effort put into it is just insane, and it not only brings to mind something like Frosty the Snowman, that one was animated, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but it also brings a lot to mind like Nightmare Before Christmas, especially with some of the darker stuff they show. And there's a song about getting rid of when everyone leaves, they sing kind of an Oompa Loompa type song.
Yep.
And when Jeff leaves, he gets eaten by what is it? Humble bugs or something.
Yeah.
It's more clever term than that.
Something.
And then they're literally eating him, and he's like, "Oh boy, this is like Tim Burton's wet dream. I'm gonna go get laid." And then whenever you disappear from the screen, in real life they're leaving the table, but they're out of Abed's adventure. Yeah. And there's just a great finale moment that's very actiony towards the end, where he hits his train onto full crazy. Well, it's right before he does that, and because he's losing people left and right, his friends, and only Pierce sticks with him till the end. But he's on there's a train scene where because he's making the rules, so he's like, I can teleport, and he like teleports to the roof. Yeah, he's running away, and then John Oliver is the psychiatrist, so he's like, I can teleport too. And then he gets saved by Annie and Troy. Like they're like, because they grab him, and then he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "We just learned how to teleport." That's hilarious, but it's touching because Abed broke because he got a note from his mother, who he doesn't see often at all. I think she has a different family, I believe, and he was given the gift of season 1 of Lost, which is what he finds at the end. Yeah, which stands for empty promises, which I love. And it's a touching episode. They all spend Christmas with Abed instead of other people watching like Dr. Spacetime or whatever they're into. Yeah. And then it ends with a touching shot of the claymation characters watching the screen, and in the reflection is the actual cast, and it like says Happy Holidays or whatever. Yeah. So it was a good episode. I show everyone that, people who don't watch Community, and they all roll their eyes, and I'm like, but it's anime. Like, look, that's impressive doing a 30-minute show in claymation. Like, that took all their budget.
Yeah, and it's a pretty funny episode. I've seen, like I said, we watched it.
It's the only time I see snow on Community for real, even though it's set in Colorado. It's because it's animated. It's like snow in that episode.
Well, that brings us to my number 1, which is going to be season 2, episode 4 of Futurama. This is the first Christmas episode Futurama had, where you learn about the robot Santa, that everybody's naughty, and he's voiced by the great John Goodman. So they all go on a ski trip, and this is the episode where like the professor is sleep skiing, and he like skis right into the where the fireplace is, the lodge. There's a word I was looking for, the lodge, and he's got like medals and stuff that he's won while completely asleep. It's the one where Fry learns that pine trees are extinct, and that they use a palm tree as an Xmas tree. Nobody calls it Christmas anymore. It's Xmas. There's a funny scene in the skiing where the trees, in order to keep you from hitting trees, you just say trees down, and then a loud voice is like trees down. And he's like, well, what happens if I want the trees to come up? Trees up, and then Fry hits a tree. And they get back to New York, and they're decorating, and he's learning about Christmas. And he learns, Leela's an orphan. He feels like he has the saddest Christmas because he's out of time. And all of his friends and family are dead. They're like, well, Leela is the only one of her people on this planet. This is before they knew she was a mutant. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know, Leela
One of the
is
few
a
episodes
mutant.
I've seen is learning she's a mutant. From like the sewers.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you don't really watch that much
No.
Futurama? My God.
Like,
dude, go
we
back
only
and
like
watch
share
it
one
all.
show on each other's list.
It is great. I absolutely love Futurama. It is better than The Simpsons. Anyways,
Now probably.
So Fry realizes the error of his way and realizes that they have something in common. They're both alone. So he goes out to get her a gift. So he goes to, they're warning him that Santa is bad. If you're caught outside, you're going to be killed. Santa Claus will kill you. Everybody's on the naughty list with John Goodman's Santa. Fry ignores that. He goes out anyways. He goes to a pet store and he has to make a choice. He's got like $50. And the pet store's like, okay, well, we got these lizards that are $1 each, or this bird that's $50. And he's like, well, I could get her the bird or 50 lizards. Girls like lizards, right? And so he ends up getting her the bird. The bird's retarded. The bird gets away. Fry goes out to, get the bird back. It flies out the window is what happens when he brings it back to the building. And Leela goes out to save him because Leela's a badass. She can take care of herself and she can take care of Fry. Santa does come. He's got robot reindeer. He's got bazookas and lasers, and he's trying to kill them both. Bender's been out scoring free booze, pretending to be homeless because the robots live off of booze. So a homeless shelter for robots, they're serving booze. And Bender gets caught up in the whole mess as well. There's this great scene where Fry is trying to save the bird, and he slips and falls off the edge of a building, and the building's got a clock on it, but it's a digital clock, and he actually holds on.
Thought we were gonna have a Back to the Future.
He actually
moment
holds
for a
on
second.
to. Yeah, he actually holds on to a part of the digital number, and it's the second hand, which of course it changes from like I think it changes from a 6 to a 7. Which there's nothing under this, under the 7, and then it turns to an 8, and he holds on to the 8, and it's just like that. That's not how that works. Damn it!
That's not how the Force works.
Digital clinic, digital clock. But yeah, so it's a funny episode. Like I said, it's got John Goodman in it. I love it. It's Futurama, brilliantly written. Lots of Christmas feel-good moments. And there's several good Christmas episodes of Futurama, but that one's the best. And I think it's the only time Santa's done by John Goodman. I think they replaced him later on, but yeah.
That one sounds like the one that's, no offense, that one does sound like the best on your list, because that's also, I know Futurama, it's probably the most offensive on your list, which is up my alley, so.
So I absolutely love it. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our recommendations, our favorite Christmas episodes. And you got, like I said, 10 things to go check out from 9 different shows, right?
Yep, because I repeat a show.
Yep, 9 shows, 10 episodes. Everybody go check it out. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys know what to do with the buttons below and the comments. Do that. Nick, where can they find you at?
I am at LRM_Nick on Twitter, and I write Breaking Geek. I'm trying to get up to 5 days a week on the website, but yeah, I'm trying. I'm getting there. And I'm on like Los Fanboys and LRM Ranks, and I'll buy that for $1 eventually, and so I get all over the site. I get up in there.
Nick gets around.
Yeah, I really get around.
Make sure you're using protection.
And I'm easy.
When you get
I'm
around
really
like
easy
that,
to
okay?
get. So.
You guys can find me at that Kyle Malone on Twitter, as well as every Tuesday right here on LRM Ranks It. Go ahead and tell us what you guys like. Tell us your list, all that good stuff, like I said, in the comments. And again, have happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, everybody. Did you like what you just watched? Do you want to see more? Check out the other great videos available here on the LRM Online YouTube channel. Also, go check out our website, lrmonline.com, to see all the great stories that we publish every day.